I hope to see you guys on tour this fall. Classic Climb Tour, Atlanta, August 21st. DC, August 28th. Lots of great speakers, lots of great opportunities to build a brand that you love, like, trust, getting up every day, checking on. See you on tour.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I saw when I was living in Atlanta is that they have this area, and people in Atlanta know it, called the Beltway. And essentially, it's like a square block they built around the city. That's kind of like a walking path. It's really for people to go and enjoy themselves and exercise. And what we saw was that a lot of the development around the Beltway started to really accelerate, and the houses around that particular area started to get very, very expensive. And these were some of the areas of Atlanta that people a lot of times historically did not want to live in. And what you're seeing with Atlanta, to me, is a desire to bring in a higher income person, and that can pay the cost of living actually inside the city, and then pushing the poor people out. And because Atlanta historically was an area where all the money had kind of left the city, left actual city limits, everybody was living outside, and a lot of the poverty was inside the city. What we're seeing all over the country is they're starting to take the cities back. So for a lot of us, we're too young to remember when you had higher income people actually living in the inner city. And then you had a switch to where they left and went to the suburbs, and they let poor people come into the inner cities. Now we're seeing a lot of that turn around, and Atlanta is really showing that. And to me, they're using the crime as a justification, but they're going to get everybody out of the city, right, that doesn't want to kind of abide by the rules. And they understand that you can't have a city full of violent criminals and attract people with a lot of money, because they're not going to pay to live in that kind of environment.
Right. So prime example I think of this is a lot of news reports are showing you're going to have the biggest exodus from cities that you had in the past 50 years. Now, when we talk about cities, I'm just going to go there. People don't think Atlanta, right? Because Atlanta can fit inside of South Dallas. When people say, and I'm just going to go there, right? When people talk about cities, leaving major cities, they're talking about Los Angeles. They're talking about New York City. They're talking about Chicago, which they have been flooding, losing people left and right. They're talking about parts of from Philly on up, right? High density locations. People are trying to maximize their money and go somewhere that's safe and also has opportunity for the future. Atlanta has been that place, right? And we make a joke. There's memes all over the internet. Girl, don't move to Atlanta, right? Your soulmate in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Don't just, fix your life. Don't just move to Atlanta. And it's been this consistent joke, right? Texas and Atlanta, honestly, if you go on Instagram, if you go on YouTube right now, you look up people relocating, it's a lot of young Black women, a lot of Black people going, I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm moving to Houston, Texas. I'm gone. And what you have to understand is you get a whole nother series of backlash videos that go, they don't want to pay no money. First thing you go is, well, what's wrong? Well, man, I was making like $20 an hour, $25 an hour in New York, and I'm making $12 an hour in Atlanta. Now, first things first, they ain't paying nurses $12 an hour in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're not paying doctors $12 an hour in Atlanta. They're not paying oncologists, radiologists. They're not paying engineers. They're not paying all these people these poor wages in the South, because that's just not true. We all know that's not true. What you're hearing from is the unskilled masses who've moved to Atlanta, and yeah, they were receptionists in New York, but now being a receptionist in Atlanta is what? Teenagers can do that.
Yeah.
It's unskilled. Now, this isn't just an Atlanta problem. This is also a Denver, Colorado problem. A lot of Denver, Colorado folks moved from California. A lot of those folks moved into Utah. A lot of them moved into Arizona. But what you have is this bulk of people who are like, I cannot afford to live in this more expensive city. I must relocate. But they're coming with just their hand, their extra kids, and themselves. Yep, you were saying this is very true. Same thing about Nashville. When I talk about I see $1 million townhouses in Nashville, and people go, are there Black people in Nashville? I go, yes, it was 30% Black people at one point. Now I don't know what the numbers are. And they have a historically Black college in their city. But the key here is when people relocate, what are they coming with? Yes, this city has jobs, but what type of jobs? But I'll let you go ahead. I don't want to.
No, you're right. I mean, you're 100%. You're 100% correct. A lot of people, and the perception is, especially in the Southeast, is that I'm from a smaller town. I'm going to move to a bigger city. Well, why really? Because I think there's more going on there, and I think there's more opportunity. But like you said, is that if you're an unskilled person, essentially it's going to be the same amount of opportunity no matter where you go, because you still got to accept the fact that you're an unskilled person, and there's a lot of people that can do the particular job that you may be looking for. So a lot of people show up in Atlanta and they do not have a plan. So they, one, don't have a job. Two, they don't have a plan. And they get there and they realize that the labor market isn't necessarily what they thought it was going to be. The cost of living keeps going up. You don't have really, really good mass transportation. You may be living on the north side and you may be able to find a job out on the south side. You got to try to figure out how you're going to get down there. And then it starts to become very hard to live in this particular environment. Atlanta's very sprawled out. Nothing is close. You got to drive to get where you want to go. You got to take the highway to pretty much get around the way you want to go. And so a lot of people that have come from a lot of smaller areas of the Southeast, they feel like, you know what, things aren't going the way I wanted to go. For my people that are living up north, they already know how it is. A lot of people that live in New York, they know that you sometimes got to work multiple jobs just to survive in these particular type of environments. They thought Atlanta was going to be easier for them because they feel like the cost of living was going to be lower. But if you're still an unskilled person, you don't come down with a skill set that's in demand, then you got to take less money. So even though you have a lower cost of living, it's really not comparable. It's not like it's a come up. And so that's what a lot of people don't really understand, is that not having a skill set that is in demand in a particular area where you're a tech, or maybe you got a skilled trade, or maybe you could do some type of entrepreneurship that's in demand, it's going to hurt you. And Ray Gun 100% correct. Atlanta will eat you up without a plan. I've been telling people that a long time. It will just eat you up. There's so much going on down there. If you can't figure out how to get in that area and start being productive, Atlanta just roll over you.